I want to make this point. Everyone has different values, different opinions, and that's okay. That's fine. That's how the world works, and that's how smart people operate, right? But what you and me should not do is not condemn others. It's okay to judge in your own mind and make your own perspective, even though sometimes it might be off, it might not reflect what the reality is, and it's just a stereotype that you have in your mind, but that's okay to do. But it's not okay to condemn people based on their values, based on their habits, because most of the time you don't know their stories. What I would do, and what I suggest you to do, and I believe that that's how wise people would act, is to stay still and analyze based on actions, not based on looks, based on what you can see from outside. Now let me tell you a story. So last semester I was in the first semester of the college, and I was looking to make some friends, right? Because everyone is new there, and you have this opportunity of meeting new people. And sometimes when people would talk with me, my brain would get like a trigger saying that, oh, this person is not maybe the person you want to be friend with, and you should avoid them, right? And sometimes that's right? You don't want, maybe what I'm not looking in a friend is someone who parties, someone who uses illegal stuff and stuff like that, okay? But most of the time that's off, you make these judgments, let's say, to others based on how you see them, maybe on the first impression that you have, and most of the time you stay away from those people, or even if it's someone in different contexts, right? Not really in college or stuff like that. But I used to have like this new pal I was talking with, and from outside you could say like he's a gamer, he's like not a person you want to really be friend with if you are like you want to improve, or you want like a business mind and stuff like that. But I got a lesson that most of the times the assumptions that we make on people are half, let's say, or 60% of the times they are bad, right? And even if like it's not such a high percent, I think you should still want to avoid this type of interactions, when you just judge people based on the first impression that you have on them, and you don't like go deeper and deeper and see if that's how they really are, or maybe they could be a good friend, a good partner for you. And this applies in all other areas. But I had this friend, I was still sitting with him at a table, we went and eat, and I was amazed. He started telling me like his process on how he wanted to cure his ADHD, like the books he read, the stuff he did, and really I was surprised. I would never say that type of person is like on self-improvement, or how you want to call it. And I also, based on other interactions that we had and other experiences that we had, he had like more confidence than I ever had, and you could see a lot of good qualities in him, right? And he was a good friend, he's still a good friend. But I got the lesson from this experience that we should not probably, let's say, condemn people and like give them off, make assumptions in our head. Yeah, sometimes you can be right, you can spot a thief or maybe someone who wants to harm you, but I would say never judge someone based on their opinions or based on their habits and stuff like that. So for example, another thing that I did recently, I started to implement a diet that has like more protein in it. So that means I'm gonna eat a lot more eggs, a lot more chicken, a lot more, let's say, cheese and yogurt, stuff like that has a lot of protein, maybe some protein shakes, stuff like that. And it's different from what my family used to eat. So maybe this concept of like a normal diet, variety, all the vegetables, rice, carbs, protein, stuff like that, so everything mixed together. Maybe that works for people, but sometimes if you do something different, doesn't mean it's wrong. Now in this example, this applies to me. As I started eating more protein, I started left out some vegetables, some carbs and stuff like that, and my eating style was different from what other people in my family used to eat and are still eating. So I faced a lot of criticisms, to say like that, a lot of backlash, because I started to switch my eating style to be like more protein based, because I wanted to focus on muscle gain, right? Now in this example, I am like the person, but in the other example I gave you, I used to apply the same preconceptions, the same condemn issues on other people based on their habits, based on their opinions maybe, or based on what they do, how they act to. But I would like to say that if something is different, if someone acts different than you, if you put them like a tag with weird and stuff like that, doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, right? Because not everyone should act as you act, not everyone should have the opinions that you have, and even let's say you have different opinions from the people you are around, that's not a bad thing. Don't let other people change you, change your opinions, you know, change who you are because you are different from others. It's not a problem that you're different, you're not unique or stuff like that, you're just different. You just have like different ideals, different dreams, different, let's say, strategies to apply like to your life, fitness, health, school, whatever is it. And even if it's bad, like even let's say do a strategy, in my case, let's say I eat a lot of protein and it has a backlash on my health, right? Even if something bad happens, I think you can take the good lesson that at least you tried. You tried, you see how it goes, and if it goes well, very good. You can continue to apply that strategy, to continue to use it, but if it has a bad outcome, you can switch and can see. I think that's more important to do than living with regret, like, oh, what would happen if I did that, right? What would happen if I started eating more protein? And you're just like in a loop of fear where you don't do other things because you're afraid of being judged, of being condemned by others. You're afraid of taking risks to try new stuff. So I think that's very important to take accountability for what you do, have courage, even if you're afraid to, have the courage to do what you want, and also as well apply the same things to the people in your surroundings. So treat others exactly as you want to be treated. Now, another thing that I want to stress on, which is tied to the things I told you earlier, is I want you to have high standards, right? Because this can be subjective, this can differ from people to people. High standards, like for example, high standards in diet. You won't eat like, let's say, carbs, you won't eat sugar, you won't eat processed food, chips, whatever is it. You won't have like cheat meals. It's very important to have high standards, because when you have high standards for yourself, that means you have a higher respect for yourself. If you don't let others and don't let your inner, let's say, self to act maybe on emotions most of the times, because when you're gonna eat like junk food, when you're gonna eat, let's say, sweeties or stuff like that, it's not gonna be based on logic, right? Most of the time it's gonna be based on emotion. Now, that this doesn't mean you don't need to be emotional, stuff like that, but you need to have high standards and act upon the things you want to achieve, right? If you want to become an athlete, you should act like an athlete. You should do exactly what a great athlete does, right? Now, another thing that ties directly to this is that even the greats can be greater. So for example, if you see McGregor, the Irish MMA kickboxer, he used to have like, he was at the top of his career in 2018, 2019, something like that. And after that, he started doing parties, he started taking like a lot of alcohol and maybe other substances, and he had a bad period after that. He had a lot of losses. So also this applies to, if you see a lot of, you know, celebrities, actors, like athletes, stuff like that, that maybe it's based more on performance. Not all of them stay at the top because they don't have high standards, probably. Now, this is a hard thing to have high standards, because it means you're gonna always have to push your limits. You won't have like a comfortable zone much of the time. So I think one good rule to follow is that whenever you, let's say, you establish a new comfort zone, you push your limits, you don't want to stay too much in that comfort zone, because I have a theory that if you don't do the actions to evolve, you're just gonna go down, because you won't do those actions, and overall your progress will go down. I don't think you can stagnate or stuff like that. I don't think that's how it works. So overall, what's the lesson I want you to take from this video? First of all is that you should not let others people change you based on your habits, because they are different from what they are doing. Maybe they want to do the same thing as you, but they're afraid, because most of the times when you try new things, your outcome is going to be uncertain. Secondly, I want you to take the lesson that most of the times when you condemn someone for, let's say, the first impression, maybe it's not true, and you might want to give them another chance. You might want to act nicely with respect, okay? And the third thing I want you to take from this video is that you need to have high standards, and you need to constantly push them even more. You want to set new limits, achieve them, set new limits, achieve them, set new limits, achieve them. Now, it might sound like it's never gonna be enough for you, but honestly, like I told you, I think if you don't pursue more achievements, you automatically are going to go down, because if you don't do the actions to achieve more, you're gonna not do them, and you not doing them is gonna make worse off. Now, this is the episode. Don't forget to subscribe, and guys, as long as you don't give up, you're a winner.